802 Cup Series podcast, take two. Did record it last night, and it did upload to the Twitch page, the full 25 minutes. But this morning, when I went to extract the audio, I saw it said 2.5, but it only saved like 25 seconds. So the thing just kind of disappeared. So we don't know how that happened. So we're back again. The only thing is we don't have Mike Fish for the interview. So this is the 802 Cup Series podcast, the weekly podcast of the 802 Cup Series, which is part of the 802 Racing Leagues. You can find us on Facebook. The Cup Series is still recruiting. If you want to join, look us up on the Facebook page or go to iRacing Leagues and look up 802 Cup Series and click join. You'll have one of the admins reach out to you. We'll check your numbers and looking for casual, friendly, courteous drivers that want to drive in a pretty competitive league, but still laid back and have a good time. So that's who we are, and that's what we do. Every week on the podcast here, weekly features will be a review of the last week, race data, top finishers, point standings, and more. Then we'll do a preview of the upcoming race, which will include track weather, car setups, lap counts, where the comp caution will be. And we're going to try to have a guest segment every week, which will be either fellow racing team members or other league members, admins, and even occasionally we've had on the Joe Sixpack Racing podcast, we've had some NASCAR drivers. We had a gentleman whose uncle defeated Dale Jr. or Dale Sr. to win the Daytona 500 on the last turn. And sidebar to that was after Dale bitched him out in the on pit lane after the race, they went out and had a couple beers. So that's what happens on the guest segment. And then we'll have league news, for instance, upcoming rules changes, changes to setups on a race, etc., like that, and any updates and stuff that is going on. So let's go right now to the Nashville Review, which was the Music City 100, which took place on Sunday, November 8th. We had an average lap time that race of 34.523 seconds. Sounds kind of fast because my fastest lap was about 34.5, but we only had two cautions, and one of them was the competition caution. There were 100 laps in the race, only 6 laps under caution, only 6%. That's remarkable. So you guys did a good job racing there. 7 lead changes, and the average strength of field, it was 1546. I want to give a shout out to Riptide Radio, Jeff Barefoot. Thank you for sponsoring every race by throwing out some cash to a random driver for Riptide Radio for that Carolina Shag sound. And also want to shout out to Extreme Sim TV, our broadcaster. And that was the review for the race data. Taking a look at the Nashville starting grid. Brandon Redford in car number 12. Car number 1 was the pole sitter, Michael Fish. Car number 20 was in P2. P3 was Kenny Reel in the number 22. Nick Larson driving the 82 was 4th on the grid. Number 62, Frank Zingen, was P5 on the grid. Brandon Garand was number 6. He's the driver of the car number 4. Car number 88, Cole Jarrett, was P7. Jason Wiley was P8 in the car 13. David Lomaga in the car 28 was P9. Johnny Barker was P10 in the car 6. And the car 30 driver Larry Murphy was P11. And P12 was number 1, Art Greco. And the top finishers for the Music City 100, the podium finishers were Rob Lowell, Kenny Reel, and Larry Murphy. Rob Lowell, his average lap time was 34.523 seconds. He led 57 of the 100 laps. The only one that led more than 10 was Michael Fish, who led 23 laps early in the race. And then his tires started fading out. He was complaining it was like plowing snow through the whole race. I heard a lot of the road people say that too. Kenny Reel in the car 22 finished 5.5 seconds behind Rob Lowell, the leader, and he led 9 laps. Third place, Larry Murphy in the car number 30. He was about 6.3 seconds back, and he didn't lead any laps. His average race time was 34.586. Fourth place was Johnny Barker in the car 6. He finished about 7.8 seconds off the pace. Fifth place was Brandon Garand. He was about 8 seconds back. He led 3 laps. Cole Jarrett finished sixth. He was a little over 10 seconds back. Brandon Redford came in 8th. He was 12.07 seconds back. He led 3 laps, as well as Cole Jarrett led 3. Dave Lamaga finished 8th place, 13 seconds off the pace. No laps led. Frank Zingen led 2 laps. He finished in 9th place, 13.65 seconds off the pace. And rounding out the top 10, Jason Wiley finishing 20 seconds off the pace. No laps led, with pretty good average lap speed of 34.74 seconds. Points leaders after Nashville, and as of November 11th, I should have been January 11th. Sorry about that. First place is David Lamaga with 283 points. He has 2 wins, average start of 6th, average finished 5th. Second place is Brandon Garand with 273 points. He doesn't have any wins. He's got a pretty steady driver, though. Average start 6th place and also finishing 6th. Rob Lowell in third with 271 points. He's won 3 races this year. And again, a pretty steady driver with an average start and finish of P7. Fourth place, Frank Zingen, 270 points. No wins. Average start of 11th. Average finish of 6th. Johnny Barker in 5th, 262 points. No wins. Average start of 7th. Average finish of 8th. Jason Wiley in 6th place with 254 points. 1 win. He averages a P11 to start and an average finish of P9. John Bewley in 7th place, tied with Michael Fish, both with 251 points, but John Bewley has a win. John Bewley starts at an average of 15th and finishes 10th. Michael Fish, no wins, average start of 6th and an average finish of 11th. He's actually a lot better driver than that. He just had some tough times at Nashville, so that pushed his average start back quite a bit. And Michael Fish and John Bewley are kind of both on the cut line, except for the win that John Bewley has. And just outside the cut line is Christopher Ritchie in 8th place with 249 points, with an average start of 13th and an average finish of 10th. And this is the 802 Cup Series podcast for January 12th. And again, I want to thank Riptide Radio for throwing out some money there. Gift certificates for just about every race to a random driver. So you can listen to Riptide Radio online. Coming up now is the Dover preview. Race day is Sunday, January 15th. It's 160 laps. The competition caution will be on lap 50. Track conditions for that day, partly cloudy with an afternoon start of 2:54 p.m. Temperature high 70s, humidity at 55% for the Monster Mile. That's Dover Motor Speedway. Setups for this week, fuel percentage 75%, 3 tire changes as usual, and 2 quick fixes. There's a practice race tonight, tomorrow night, and I know that some of the guys have already been out practicing on the track. It's another tough track. It's I guess it said it's a mile that runs kind of like a speedway because the whole track is banked. If you've ever been there and walked around on the track, it's pretty wild. It's a concrete track, and you walk out, and even the front stretch and back stretch are pretty darn steep. So I found out for myself walking around there one day a couple of years ago. So that's the setups and the information for the race this Sunday. And again, that is at track time at 2:54 p.m. and 7:45 p.m. Sunday. We go for 30 minutes of practice, qualifying, and green flag dropping shortly after 8:15 p.m. So you can check out the Discord for the start times for the practice race tonight and tomorrow. They're full-length practice races, and you can get some pretty good ideas as to how your car is going to run, because even though it's a practice race, we run those, like I said, just like a regular race, and it's pretty competitive, and usually a smaller field, so you can get out there and drive around a little bit more and have a little bit more room. But Dover's going to be a tough track as we head towards playoff season, which is just around the corner. And the special thing this week, the theme for this week is Toontown. So the race is called the Toontown 160 at Dover. We started this in an old league where Toontown was come up with your favorite cartoon scheme, and it could be a comic book hero, movie hero, cereal box hero, anything related to cartoons. You can see the number 22 there with the purple scheme is the Rugrats. Number 121 on the lower left of your screen there is SpongeBob SquarePants. Number 47 is Sesame Street. And I don't feel bad because I'm doing Teletubbies. So if somebody's doing Sesame Street, I'm not going to be embarrassed out there with my Teletubby screen with the blue sky and the Teletubbies and Vacuum the New all over the car. So we're going to have some fun with that. And tune in. That's usually one of our races where we get a lot more viewers, and there's some really cool paint schemes that are out there. And like I said, this is the 802 Cup Series podcast, and I want to thank Extreme Sim TV for broadcasting every week. Next week we'll be back on June 17th at 8 p.m. That's Tuesday. That'll be our regular night for the podcast. Tuesday night, January 17th, 8 p.m. with yours truly. You can watch live on twitch.tv/Greg Dreiss. They usually hold on to it for about 2 weeks, and then they kick it off into oblivion, and then later on, the audio gets uploaded to Spotify, Amazon, Google Podcasts, and most of the other podcast platforms. And again, I want to thank Riptide Radio for being a sponsor here. And I also want to go back and thank driver number 18, Kerry Shaver. He is sponsoring the 802 Cup Series Rookie of the Year Award for a driver that's brand new with the league and has the most points at the end of the season will get $30 courtesy of Kerry Shaver, driver of the car 18. Also coming up in 2 weeks on January 26th, it's the second edition of the No Rolls Roller Derby, which will be Gander Mountain trucks on dirt. And we've increased the prizes for this race. First prize is still $100. Second prize is $50, and third prize is $25. That's Thursday, January 26th. I think that's 26th at 8 p.m. And it's under hosted first come, first served. It's a 30-minute combination roller derby, enduro, and smash 'em up demolition derby. So wreck like you want to be wrecked instead of race like you want to be raced. The only black flags you'll get are for driving the wrong way, speeding on pit road, etc. like that. Otherwise, it's mayhem. Wrecking is encouraged. Dive bombing is appreciated. And retaliation, if you don't retaliate, you're not going to win. So I'm Greg Dreiss for the 802 Cup Series on iRacing. If you want to join the league, go to iRacing, look up under Leagues, click the League tab, request an invite. We'll check you out and send you a note to join us on the Discord. And that's it. So we'll see you on Wednesday. And once again, thanks for watching.